During strategic planning, companies often use what is known as a SWOT diagram in order for them to come up with strategies for their organization. But how do you actually and correctly use a SWOT diagram? That's what we will be talking about in today's session here at the Corporate Mechanic. Hello everyone, this is Joey and welcome to the Corporate Mechanic. Now I will be starting off a new series of topics that are all about strategic management, particularly tools in doing a strategy. Now for today, we will actually be doing a three-part series on the use of a SWOT diagram. Because one of the things that I noticed was that oftentimes when organizations use a SWOT diagram, they often use it incorrectly, or sometimes it's not done in a very complete manner, and so therefore you cannot really maximize the use of a SWOT diagram, and it doesn't help in your organization. Okay, so for the first part for today's session, I will be talking about the structure of a SWOT diagram, how to actually use or how to actually build a SWOT diagram. On our second part, I will try to come up with an example on how to use a SWOT diagram. And for the third part, I will actually teach you on how to strategize, to come up with strategies in using a SWOT diagram. Okay, so I do hope that you will go through the whole three-part series of this topic. All right, so let's begin. Okay, so what is a SWOT diagram? A SWOT diagram is one of those tools that are often used by managers, by leaders in coming up with strategies for their organization. Now, just like a lot of management tools that you will see out there, it is often a quadrant of two factors. Okay, two things, two areas. So oftentimes strategy is all around those things, looking at two things, two dimensions of things. Now, in a SWOT diagram, the first dimension is either positive or negative, looking at a situation either in a positive way or in a negative way. So that's the first dimension. The second dimension is really all about looking at the company internally or externally. So you're looking at internal factors and external factors. Now, it's called SWOT primarily because of all the quadrants that are in a SWOT diagram. So the first is what we call strengths. Okay, so in doing a SWOT diagram, one area that you look at are the strengths. A strength is something that is positive and at the same time is internal. So when we talk about strengths, we talk about what is it that is in your organization that you would consider a strength of yours. Something that you're good at, something that your company is really good at doing. You're very capable at doing that thing. So that's a strength. The next thing that you will need to put, the next quadrant in a SWOT diagram, is what you call your weaknesses. When we say weakness, it is negative and at the same time it is internal, meaning you're looking something that is not that is your weakness in your organization, something that you're not good at, something that you're not as capable of, something that within yourself, okay, within your company, your organization, you consider yourself weak at, you are not capable or you are not good in that thing. Okay, so these two strengths and weaknesses, these are positive and negative, and they are all internal. Okay, so you list that down. You try to write those things. Then after that, you look into O, which is opportunities. Now when we say opportunities, this is positive, and at the same time, this is external. Meaning an opportunity is something that is outside your organization. So that's very important. Oftentimes people don't realize that it should be external. Meaning if you're going to look at opportunities, it is something that is not within your company. It can be because of the environment, what is going on in the environment right now. A certain thing happened that is not, okay, that is not part of your organization but you think you can leverage on. That is an opportunity. Again, it's outside the organization and it is something that is positive. Okay? And then the last quadrant is all about your threats. Okay? When you say threats, it is negative and at the same time it is external, meaning it is something that is again outside the organization that is not good, something that can threaten your business. It is not something that is external but something that is out there. It's something that has to do with the environment, your competition, the market in itself. It's all external. So for both opportunities and threats, these are all external to the company. If it's positive, then it's an opportunity. If it's negative, then it is a threat. So it's very important that when you create a SWOT diagram, you look at these factors in such a manner, either internal or external, positive or negative. Alright? Now, some reminders in doing a SWOT diagram. Number one, whether it is a strength or a weakness, it is actually based on your perception in your organization. Oftentimes, some people would see a fact in your organization. For example, you have a lot of seasoned employees. Depending on who really looks at it, is that something that is positive or something that is negative? Right? Because if you say that, oh, we have a lot of seasoned employees, meaning they're very good at their job. They're very, they know how to do things. So you can look at it in a positive way. It can be your strength. But at the same time, you can also look at it as, I have seasoned employees. They're probably not open to new ideas. And that can be a weakness in your organization. So when you are doing, a SWOT diagram, you really have to have a consensus within your organization as how you actually see a certain factor, whether it is a strength or it is a weakness, or externally, whether that event that you're seeing or that condition that you're seeing is either really an opportunity or a threat. So in doing a good SWOT diagram, you need to have consensus. What do you really agree upon? Because if you try to put it as both a strength and a weakness, or an opportunity and a threat, then you're only canceling out your view of that specific factor. Okay, so you have to decide first, because it's always based on perception. How do you perceive that specific factor in your company? Okay, so that's one reminder that I would like to point out whenever you create a SWOT diagram. The second factor that I would like to point out is that avoid trying to put in the inverse of a statement or of a factor in another area. Meaning, let's just say my organization has a lot of capital, so that can be a strength. But you can also put there as an opportunity, my competitors don't have as much money as we do. Again, that cancels out that factor. Okay, it doesn't really, it's not really that useful because you're just restating a factor. Okay, you're just talking about the inverse of that. Of course, if you have more money than your competitor, that is your strength. But at the same time, that is also your opportunity. So what you need to do there is, you have to ask yourself, is this specific situation more of a strength on my end, or is it more an opportunity? So you have to build a consensus whenever you are creating a SWOT diagram, right? So that's how you build a SWOT diagram. Those are the things that you need to remember in building a SWOT diagram. In our next episode, I'll be talking about how do you actually fill it in by coming up with a specific example. So do stay tuned, watch out for our next episode so that you learn more about how to properly and correctly create a SWOT diagram. If you have questions, comments, please write that down in our comment section. I hope that you guys will subscribe and click on the notification button so that you get notified whenever we have new episodes, especially with our upcoming part 2 and part 3. All right? So thank you guys for watching. Stay safe and stay blessed.